Hello. Trying to keep up my promise to myself of making daily videos and honestly it's been kind of tough working on the fandom stuff, and I'm not sure why, because once I get into it I can get into it, but it feels like in the beginning sections it's just, I don't know, it's tough. I feel like I just casually talking to you like I know all of you. To the people that have watched me for a while, hi, thank you. I appreciate having you. Welcome back. To people that are new, happy to have you. In the future, I feel like I may just be talking naturally as though I already just know you and just naturally try to talk. But I feel like I need to introduce myself still a bit because I am small, and I feel like if there's gonna be a good chance that I'll just constantly run into a case of, now that I'm uploading daily again, because on the first month I tried my best to upload daily, and so I got a spike of YouTube actually trying to recommend me and basically in a case of people that watch small creators find me, then yada yada. So I feel like I'm rambling. I told myself I wouldn't ramble this time, and I am. But you know what? I think that's just a little bit. It's kind of a bit of who I am, so I'm not even gonna try to fix it or worry about it. Welcome. I have been doing a series where I talk about fandoms that I've been a part of all my life, whether it's the case, basically starting from chronologically from when I was kind of born. But also at the same time, when you're born, you don't really have a fandom other than your parents, right? Because you're kind of more self-centered, and then later as you grow up, you kind of get a concept of a world around you, but that's not what that's not what I was intending when I was saying it. That's not what I was trying to imply. I just, from when I was young up until now, that's what I meant, and I couldn't say the right word because all I could think of was born. Um, so I'm kind of reaching more toward the end goal here just of fandoms, because I was trying to keep it chronologically in the beginning of, oh, I found this here, I found this here, I found this here. Now it's more toward the end of just very big genres, I guess you could say, or a medium, as you could put it. So it feels less important to be like, oh, this was before this, this was before this. Now it's more so of I'm still in these fandoms, but this is the time periods of when I found this material. And well, if I'm gonna start there, I'm not gonna even do that one. I'll do this one. Excuse me for a moment. Anime. uh, I I technically found something I found that's actually very universal with anime in particular is people tend to either have be able to afford 4channel in their youth, and so they find a show that they didn't think was anime, but it actually is. They get hooked on it and basically fall down a rabbit hole where later in life they find out there's more, and there's a whole medium because anime is it's literally just Japanese animations. So kind of like any storybook or any movie or any show, that could literally fill a whole void of everything. But they have their whole thing already that I'm sure people have talked about, like of like shoujo, shonen. That's not necessarily what I'm gonna get into today. But I did not have the luxury in my youth to afford channels. So a lot of big name shows that aired 2000s, 2010s, most of it I've never seen. And if I have seen it, it's a case of my family buying DVD discs of a show that they've already like watched in other ways, like through family or a friend that recommends the show. They buy it, and then we're able to watch the whole show in one swoop, or as much of that's currently aired available. So that I so I never got to experience the normal experience of finding a channel and then the channel picking up something and then getting hooked on it. But I did technically have a case where a friend watched a show, but I never was interested. And the weird thing is, it's a huge, huge anime that literally sparked off a whole genre in itself. I'm talking about Sailor Moon. This is technically my first anime, technically, because I was between 5 or 8 years old, so the time frame of when I was talking, but still pretty young. And Sailor Moon was something that there's these girls. I knew them because my mom was friends with their mom, and I I wasn't that close with them, but to me they were nice. And except for the one time that they ruined my mom's makeup, but that's gonna be for like after all of this on the story day. But they, in excitement, showed me Sailor Moon, and I'm white. I live in America. I don't really know anything about Japanese shows, and they don't tell me that, oh, this is from another language and it got translated into Japanese. My mom actually has a My mom was big in singing. She has a whole song she made up with a group in Japanese. So I probably would have actually like opened up and like could have gone hardcore into Sailor Moon, but none of that was explained to me. They're just like, "Oh, Sailor Moon, you like Sailor Moon." And I was just like, "Why is it so hard for them to speak? The animation feels choppy, and because it's so weird to speak, because they're just the talking isn't lining up, as well as everything just feels slow. It's literally because they're talking in another language, and my little brain couldn't comprehend that at the time. So I was just like, this is slow and boring. And I just watched one episode. It felt like more earlier in this series because it was based off the animation quality it was. But my brain was just like, no. I I was watching it and it wasn't the beginning episode for me to understand it, or if it was, I didn't understand what was going on and no one explained it to me. So I was just like, yeah, okay, that happened. Cool. Let's go play dolls. Let's go play with Bratz dolls. And then, as I put down in here, time skip. 14 years old. So, long forgotten about Sailor Moon. And I moved out to. I keep bringing this up because I keep basically got bombarded with a lot of stuff. And so you'll hear that phrase a bit for a couple days. But I get bombarded with anime, and I was desperately trying to make friends that I felt comfortable with. And uh, so this one girl, she, that stereotypical anime fan that people actually nowadays cringe to? This is our teen years. And she was very much like that. And my brain was just like, she is having fun with this. This seems really cool. So I'll try to be her friend. But in order to be her friend, well, I didn't, not necessarily had to be her friend. It's more so of a case of she wanted to excitedly talk about this thing, and I understood that. I also love just excitedly talking about my favorite thing that I currently taught at that time currently talk about. So she was telling me all about the show that I faked knowing that I had no clue anything about it, but she was in love with the series. And I was just like, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. And I did that for, I'm not sure if it was weeks or a couple months, but I did it up until she showed me this very this very serious quote that someone in the fandom made of the series that was anime, but I didn't know at the time, and she basically read it out to me like, "Oh, if you're ever in need of help, I'm always there for you, but if you don't think you can reach me in time, I'm sharing this with you." And I read it, I'm like, what the bleep? So my brain, I'm like, I can't fake this anymore. I can't. I have to figure out what I knew the name of the show already, but I was like, I need to find this and I need to watch it so I actually understand what on earth is going on. And I already talked about it before. The anime was called Hetalia. I made a whole video by itself because I thought I was going to talk about every single anime, and then I decided to drop that. But it was Hetalia. That was my favorite. It's my first, technically, as well as it slowly became one of my favorites I hold near and dear. And as I put down in here, fan fiction in all caps. I have another video planned about that, so I will talk about it. But I watched the show and I was like, "Oh, this is cute." But the first episodes are very they take serious topics and they make them very silly and lighthearted, and my brain, and I actually I knew some history, so I was like, what on earth is happening? I remember reading this serious note. So I got into the fan fiction and it all made sense. It was less so about the show and more so about the fandom around it. And then I watched more of this show and I found out that the quality stepped up, and also I started taking it more lightheartedly and it started becoming more fun for me, and I loved it. Loved it, absolutely loved it. And I got so wrapped up into the fanfiction stuff and the fandom related stuff that I dropped anime as a whole. After I picked up two other anime and I loved them, but the fandom wasn't hitting the sweet spot for me, like the chaos and beauty of Hetalia, so I dropped it. Up until I was around 18 months old, 18 years old, where I found My Hero Academia, and it had similar chaos. Not the same at all, but similar chaos to My Hero Academia, and I went, this is my new home now. I'm placing a flag here. I'm part of this group. And I was planning on making a whole video about that too, because that fandom was also pretty nuts. And then I got sucked up into the fandom until around I was 22 years old. yeah, I'm older than I'm in my 20s. But I opened up to watching more shows, more anime. So I'm actually genuinely now watching like different variety of anime, trying to catch up with some big names of current day. But I mostly did it for family bonding reasons, as I wrote down here: Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer because I got my younger sister into anime through My Hero Academia, because at that time that was like my big thing. And then she found Demon Slayer on her own and loved it. And I mean, it is so good. The animation and the story is okay, but the fighting animation and the art is just mwah, absolutely love it. And so when she showed me an excitement and we did this like a family bonding, sorry, I'm holding it with my hands. Oh my gosh, I got a little dents. They're turning red from holding it. But I did it mostly for family bonding, and Demon Slayer, absolutely worth it. And cried during the first movie. And then Attack on Titan was a key. Oh, I might be covering up the microphone. Sorry about that if I got quiet randomly. And my family, I watched Attack on Titan like a while back when I found Hetalia. And I kind of dropped it. And then I found out that there were like a ton more seasons. So then I got back into it. And then there's a particular season where it felt like it was a bad cliffhanger that left me off on. So then I dropped the series in frustration until the end of the animated series is coming to an end. And I found out that it actually, like, it was a bad ending to the season and this conflicting season altogether, but it got much better afterwards. So I picked it back up again, fell in love, and shared it with my family because I was like, because I have a good chunk of my family watches anime. My dad also doesn't, like, I wouldn't say he's a hater, but he's annoyed with anime for the most part. But Attack on Titan, listen here, listen here, listen. We're gonna watch this, and you're gonna like it. He was like, okay, because normally I don't do that. So when I did it for the first time, he's like, okay, yeah, this is actually pretty good. He's like, I'm not a big fan of anime, but I like that. I'm happy that she shared that. Last bit. Now, I already spoke about how I'm watching more trending anime, hoping to go to Comic-Con some point. I did go to one Comic-Con, and I dressed up as a Hetalia character, which reminds me of my episode in the comment section of another person that did that, which was awesome. But I dressed up as female version of Romano, I think is his name, and no one knew who I was, so I was just like, okay, I give up. But I'm hoping to actually try to go to more Comic Cons and actually maybe one day try to get into a genuine cosplay if I had the money and resources and patience to go through with that. We'll see, because I've still have my other projects I want to work on, but still love it. Still currently watching multiple shows. One of my younger siblings got me into Inuyasha. Still in the beginnings of that, but I like it. I really like it, which makes me feel bad about Sailor Moon because it has very similar animation. But now I actually understand what's going on, so I appreciate it more. So, gonna watch Inuyasha first, and then go into Sailor Moon. But I'm also watching like 4 anime separate, 2 like solely for myself to enjoy, and then other anime to watch with my family. So yeah, that thank you for watching. If you liked me rant and talk in excitement, but also get really close in your face at times because I'm getting animated, like, subscribe so you can see more of my stuff. Uh, thank you. I do it with this hand, so I'm gonna move it for a bit. And I'll let you go. Bye.